Hi, this is Palmer's on Holiday. I'm Chantel Palmer and welcome to my second video. And we had how many Medivacs? Stay tuned to find out. Day one started off pretty well for us. Welcome lunch in the main dining room because we had the key. Look at the size of those shrimps. How pretty good are they? While I was eating my gigantic shrimp for lunch, I was looking back at my boarding photos and I noticed there was something in the background that I hadn't seen when I was taking the photo. I was just so excited about getting on the ship. And yes, that's the first medical event for the holiday. Unfortunately, it was a family who didn't quite make it past the boarding stage and the husband ended up in hospital with surgery. Such a lovely family. I met them before the night before and I really hope that they're doing well. They've posted an update and it seems like he's well on the way to recovery now with any luck. Another highlight of the day was the Bionic Bar, and I was so excited to have my very first cruise cocktail made by these Bionic waiters, and it was so much fun to watch. Sunday started off pretty well. Lovely breakfast at the solarium, followed by a relax out by the pool and just chilling and enjoying the cruise, really. And then we got some news. An announcement came up and we noticed that we had suddenly changed directions and we were heading back towards Australia. What was going on? We noticed we'd zigzagged and then came the helicopter and we heard that we were having a crew member evacuated off ship because they needed surgery. Nothing more was said about it. Later on in the cruise, we kind of heard that perhaps the crew member had had appendicitis and needed surgery. So I really hope that they're doing well. So with this diversion, and it was a 4-hour diversion back towards Australia and then presumably 4 hours back to catch up to where we were before, 8 hours in total, what would this mean for our first stop? First stop is Mystery Island. Think beaches, think cabana. We'd booked a cabana on the beach, massage, snorkeling with the fish. Will this happen? We were super excited when we walked back into our room and found this little fellow waiting for us, our very first ever tail animal. And we had a chat to our room attendant and he said, unfortunately, they don't get a chance to do them every day. They're so busy. So they come out every second day. Well, every second day sounded fine to us. At least we would hopefully get sort of 4 of them over the course of an 8-night cruise. So what will number 2 be? Number 2, did I just really say that? Oh, well, let's move on. So another highlight of our trip was the bumper cars. If you have a look back on my previous cruise video, you'll see that in a little bit more detail. But yeah, love the bumper cars. Another surprise waiting for us on day 2 was it had a sign on the top that said the key, and I could tell it was some sort of food underneath. And on closer inspection, it was chocolate strawberries. We were not expecting that at all, so that was a lovely surprise. It got to day 3 and we realised that we hadn't hidden our ducks yet. So that was our mission for the morning. Didn't take long for this little fellow to disappear. I think he was gone in less than a minute. Just as we were hiding the ducks, along came an announcement from the captain again. And we thought, oh yes, here we go. What is it this time? Well, it was a cyclone developing right in the area where we're supposed to be cruising. Cyclone Gabrielle. Well, it hadn't been named at that stage, and if you've watched the news since, you'll see that New Zealand was pretty hard hit by this cyclone. The captain made the call not to go to Mystery Island. We knew we probably weren't going to make it anyway, and we also had our stop at Port Vila cancelled, which was our second stop, Vanuatu. that was a little bit disappointing too. So he said, we're gonna get in and out to Noumea before the cyclone crosses paths with us. So at least we would get one stop for the cruise. The upside was that we did get some refund on our port taxes, and we got a $150 onboard credit. So not all was lost. I missed my massage on the beach in my cabana, so I decided to book in and have one done as a treat on the ship. Certainly was amazing. Day 4, the day we were supposed to be in Mystery Island, and cruising through to Mystery Island, we were supposed to go up the North Star and have a beautiful view of the island, but we got a beautiful view of the ocean and the ship, and it was certainly amazing. Didn't disappoint. And we thought, this change is not going to ruin our very first cruise. I mean, the ship in itself is a destination, really. So we got stuck in, and we did so many exciting things that we had wanted to try for so long while we were booking this cruise. I noticed we're pulling up to Noumea a little bit ahead of schedule, and Carnival Luminosa is sitting off in the distance, and suddenly we have these two little boats that pull up. One said pilot, and the other one turns out was a medical evacuation boat, Mediboat if you like. And they're right off my balcony, so I got a great view of them. This was our third medical event for the trip. They were taking a passenger off and onto shore in Noumea. So we'd gone close enough to shore for them to be evacuated, and then we pulled back out into international waters so the ship could open the casino and the shops. And we hung out there overnight, and then finally in the next morning went into Noumea. Now, one thing I had heard about but never tried was escargot, and I wasn't going to miss my chance on my first cruise. If you want a review on what I thought of it, go back and check out my last video and you'll see that there. That night was the nightclub experience Red in 270, and that was a lot of fun. Finally, our first port day. Woohoo! We get one! So we pulled into port. Because our ship is so big, we can't dock at the regular cruise port, and we have to dock at the container port. And with that came a bit of an issue. We were a day ahead of the original schedule, which meant that, of course, there was some things in port already, and we had to wait for those container ships to leave so that we could get in. And we got in a little later than we expected. Kept getting our tour bumped, and eventually we finally got to shore, and I think we had about 3 hours on shore. Our tour was on a train called the Choo Choo train, spelled Tchou, Tchou. And that was a fun little tour around the island with some commentary, so I'll share some of that with you now.
My family owns a boat here in Noumea because we are surrounded by water. Another souvenir of the American soldiers is that maroon anchor in the middle of that roundabout. We are now entering all the suburbs of Noumea, the suburbs that are quite expensive in price because it's surrounded by water, and I reckon that most cities in the world where there's water, the prices go high. So a two-bedroom apartment starts from like $300,000 up to maybe $700,000, and a 3 to 4 bedroom houses starts at $600,000 to about $1 million to $2 million, which is not very rare. $2 million is very, very high price. So that was the second bay of Noumea, called Orphanage Bay. The third bay here is called Port Plaisance. Very nice shopping center next to it here, with a duty-free shop inside and many restaurants. With a supermarket here called Casino. It's not a gambling casino.
So back in Port, and we went to La Petite Choux, the most amazing French pastry bakery in the middle of Noumea, and these were just delicious. Noumea's currency is Pacific francs, so if you're purchasing anything on the island, you either need that currency or you can use a credit card and it will transfer or convert it for you automatically. And a lot of places like the supermarket that we also went to get some drinks, they had they take credit cards, so it was not a problem. We're heading back to the cruise port at Noumea and back to the ship, and thought I'd share a few pictures from the artwork on deck 7. We thought we'd try the coffee shop on board, La Patisserie, and this was huge. It was a cookies and cream cheesecake. It took me 2 days to get through this. In Australia and New Zealand, we don't have a lobster night included, so this was an extra cost. I think it was around about $30 US, and it had to be done. The next morning we woke up, had a late sleep in and went off to Jamie's Italian for lunch. Big highlight there. If you have a look on my other video, you'll see what I thought about Jamie's and the food that we ate. As we were sitting at the restaurant, I noticed, look, there's Carnival Luminosa off outside the ship again. It had made its way back towards Australia. And I noticed that we were turning around as we were going past it. I wondered what's going on here. We headed back to our room after lunch and noticed the unmistakable noise of Medivac number 4 right off my balcony once again. Gosh, I do hope all those people are okay. Or they've got some great stories to tell at least. Anyway, moving on to the iFly, and this is the staff member having a go because, well, I just had lunch, so you didn't want to see that. Let's start the day off with a flow rider early in the morning. Good way to start the day. Woohoo! And then finish with the silent disco Hush. That was hilarious. Go and watch that other video. Again, you'll see a little bit more information about it there. But this was big highlight of the holiday, actually. I loved it. We finished off our last night with our trip to Bolero's, one of our favourite bars on board. And my daughter made friends with the bartender. He mixed up a special drink for her and she got the recipe on the last night. Big shout out to amazing bartender Saga on Ovation of the Seas. Well, all good things must come to an end, and this view is not a bad way to end a cruise, I must say. Another view of Sydney from our balcony. We got to have our final lunch. Final lunch. We don't get to stay on quite that long with the key. We got our final breakfast in the main dining room. And off we went. Well, I hope you enjoyed that second video and got something out of it. Did you count how many Medivacs there were? That's right, 4 in total for one cruise. How many Medivacs have you had on a cruise? Please like, subscribe and leave a comment down below to tell me how many have you come across on a cruise that you've had before. I would love to hear because 4 seemed an awful lot to me. I guess being a first cruise, I wasn't quite sure what I should expect as far as that went. Look out for my future upcoming videos. There are still more to come. some videos on Sydney, some videos on the Gold Coast and Surfers Paradise to come yet. So please keep watching. Please set that reminder bell so that you don't miss out on my next videos. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.